But no, I've not been married ever before. Quite a few relationships, long term, and so yeah, I have learned a couple things here and there.
There are 3 rings in a marriage. You know that. There's the engagement ring, the wedding ring,
and the suffering.
And the suffering. Yeah. You know that.
Oh yeah.
One ring to rule them all.
One ring to rule them all.
I was watching Clerks 2. I was watching Clerks 2 on Prime. I love that movie. It's like so wrong. I mean, by today's standards, it's very wrong. Well, I mean, it was wrong when it came out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, without a doubt, yeah. It it was all sorts of wrong. Still funny. Not gonna lie, I enjoy it greatly. The first one, I enjoyed the first one as well. But then when I saw the alternate ending to it, I was like, you know what? I'm glad he stuck with the ending that he did, because that alternate ending was like, nah.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Not even supposed to be here today.
They're playing hockey on the roof. That's great. Hockey on the roof. I saw the second one in theaters. I had never seen the first one, so I went to go see it with a friend of mine. He was trying to explain to me all the things. He goes, "You have to watch the other one." I'm like, "Okay." So I watched the other one. Mm. It was like all filmed in black and white. So I was like, "Okay." So.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the way. I think the way that it was sort of presented or explained to the audience is that it was done in black and white, and it's supposed to be in the aspect of like the security camera. Right, so you're seeing, him. You're seeing Dante, just saying, "Oh, I'm not even supposed to be here today." Oh my God! So, and it's supposed to be in the view of a security cam where he's just there interacting all day. Juckles, how's it going, man?
Oh, we're live. Okay.
So we're live. Let's see. Yeah, we are live everywhere. So looks like we're good to go. And okay. So this is Tech Tuesday.
It's all on tape.
If we all screw up, then it's all recorded, and the internet can see it and roast us for all eternity.
It'll be saved for posterity, yeah.
Absolutely. So this is... So everybody that is listening, watching, you seeing us, you seeing our beautiful faces. This is Tech Tuesday. We are the Helpdesk. We are your favorite nerds to give us our help to you, our audience. I am Gilbert. I am known as the Angry IT Nerd. And with me always is my co-host George. He is also known as Techno George. How the heck are you, man?
I am wonderful. I'm going to rename my name again because apparently it does not want to stay in there.
It just doesn't want to cooperate with you, man.
Nah, doesn't want to cooperate. That's right. I'm wonderful. Yeah, I was consulting John McCallum last night because I was trying to put the episodes of Peak Trans to the Auto DJ.
Okay.
And apparently the file size is too large for the Auto DJ to do a 2-hour program. Peak Trans, I believe, is 2 hours and 13 minutes. So
it doesn't do that with when I do I upload Hurricane Girls. It doesn't do that. Maybe it's the only thing I can think of. Maybe the what do you call it? hertz or the stereo bit dithering or whatever it is. Maybe it's just set so high that it inflates the file size.
Maybe at 40, I think it's was it 60?
If it's
48, it's 48.
If it's 48, then yeah, you can drop that down to 44.1 and 192 with a 16-bit. At least that's the settings I use, and yeah, it still gives you great quality.
I had used an application called Audacity, and I basically took the episode and I cut it up into 1 hour segments. So it wasn't, because it said the file was too large. The file, I think the file was 365 megabytes or three. No, sorry, it was three. It was almost 400 megabytes. It was like 380 something megabytes, and it said file size too large. So I cut it up, and one was 119 for an hour, and then the other one was 128, something like that. I forget what it was.
Oh well,
yeah,
it'll work. I mean, hey,
yeah. So,
but
I called up John McCallum, and he goes, oh yeah, you do this, you do that, and I'm doing it on the screen like as he's doing it, and then I go, okay, great, and then we talked about models and everything, and spaceships for another 2 hours after that. So
nice.
He 3D printed a face hugger, for me, so he's gonna send it to me.
Awesome.
Full scale, full scale face hugger.
Yeah,
he got this file.
So I've been kind of toying with the idea of dipping my toes into the business of D&D miniature figures, of the minifigures of D&D models.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing custom ones like that. So the only thing is I'm not sure if I put it out there, how many people would be interested in it, what to charge, that whole thing. So for anybody listening, I signed up on Blue Sky and I sent the question out. So, hey, however many responses I get, then that'll let me know.
Yeah, people are usually looking for, they are looking for new figures.
And then I figured
for Dungeons and Dragons, for Warhammer, like Warhammer 40K and stuff like that. But in the modeling world, which we're going to discuss, on the new show, was accurizing figures, for models. So say like if you have 1/72nd scale, Star Wars X-Wing, or if you have a Y-Wing or whatever, and you need an actual maintenance crew, that's something, somebody would be interested, in buying. And you could sell the figures for like, if it's like a full set with equipment, you could sell it, easily like for $30, $40 for the set.
Okay.
You don't want to make it too expensive. I remember Shapeways, when they were in business, they were selling certain things. I remember getting an X-Wing pilot for Steve Neal for his 1/350 scale X-Wing, back in 2017. I think I paid $50 for that figure, but it was a good, maybe it was like a good 5 inches long. But it was like highly, highly detailed.
Yeah.
It didn't fit all the way in the cockpit, so we had to kind of cut it off at the knees, but
hey,
it's
sometimes
in the cockpit anyway.
Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, that's not gonna fit. And I'm cutting it. No, that's not gonna fit. No, I need to cut some more. Okay, I put the thing out. Okay, he fits. Okay, great. Cut him off at the knees. All right, great. So, but yeah,
but yeah, about the well, both my printers that I will use, there's like they are the you know my low the let me put it like the lower setting one. It is 7K, which is like extremely detailed.
yeah,
So, and the other one, it's a resin printer, but it's a digital light projector instead of the other one's the LED. So, the DLP one, it's even more detailed. So it's like the detail on it would be absolutely just amazing. So
one of the things I found with the highly detailed printers is, hey, I mean, you can print up figures and stuff like that. What I would, you can actually print molds with them. So,
oh yeah, that's another thing I'm planning.
If you were printing up a mold for, you know, but a lot of that technology was based on if you were going to make jewelry, like rings and stuff like that, like like the lost wax process. If you were going to use something like that, where you would make something out of wax, you would put it into like a sand mold, and then just pour like molten brass or molten gold or copper or whatever, the medium the ring is going to be in, and it would eat away at the wax, basically. So the wax basically creates the shell or the positive, or sorry, it's like a mold positive, and then you take the other, like take the two, pieces off, you take out the wax piece, you put it back together again, you pour in, like your molten metal, and it follows that contour.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could do the same thing now with resin, like resin printers. I've done some stuff with resin, so but
yeah, because I think that's what I'm going to start getting into is doing more molds, and still going to do well for me. My personal collection of just geek tributes, still do that stuff, but yeah, for like the one I'm planning on, and and this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to I'm learning this whole like melting down like aluminum and pouring it and doing a molding process like that within sand. I'm going to do a Janky Award. So yeah,
the Janky Award.
Got to do the Janky Award,
or the Nemis. I think we talked about the Nemis.
That we did too, yeah.
Instead of like instead of like the Emmys, it would be like the Nemis. It'd be like Enemy Awards.
Yeah. And so it has to start with one. So I'm going to try it with the Janky first. So I've kind of, since the weather is now getting to where it's a little bit easier to work with, it's not so humid. And so it'll be a lot easier, not only just with the resin, but with the melting down the metal itself. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of trial and error. I know I'm going to burn the shit out of myself. I know that.
I mean, the other process you can use is basically to, the one I showed you, the electroplating, where you can basically, dip the I guess you could dip the resin positive that you created, in some sort of like a copper solution, and then you can add nickel to it, and then you can add gold to it or whatever you want to do. but you would do it through electrolysis, where you would actually electroplate it,
Okay.
onto the plastic, so you could keep the you know.
Yeah.
I guess you could keep it if you wanted to do that, but I mean, if you wanted to make it out of aluminum and then plate it like that, that would be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
That
would be a
way.
little heavier.
But I mean,
Um,
it'd be heavier, but but still, it would be sturdier, and you'd still be able to keep the details
yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah,
So yeah,
that's
that's
true.
the main objective to do the resin mold of a janky. Is just so it'll be solid, because well, the last times I tried to print out a janky, it would just always snap, because at one point of it, it was just too weak to hold on to it, so it would always snap.
Hmm.
So I had the bright idea of, let's try it with metal. It would be a little bit more solid. It would it would not be so prone to snapping, and then I could still be able to paint it. So yeah.
Yeah. I've done low temperature metals, like pewter. Pewter is
Hmm.
very good to use. You
Okay.
can turn that into a more micromark. You go to micromark.com. They actually have ingots of like pewter that you can get,
Oh.
and they actually have so you would actually use like a plumber's blowtorch
Hmm.
to heat it up and melt it, and then you can pour it into molds. Apparently, the lower temperature metals you can, um, depending on the mold rubber. I think the not 3M. Oh, what is it? Owens Corning makes mold rubber, and they make it for high temperature. Sorry, yeah. I mean, they make it for high temperature castings, low temperature metals. So metals
Okay.
so like pewter, you could do a pewter goblet or whatever. So if you printed out
Like the mold of the goblet that I want.
right.
Yeah, and then
Well, I mean, no, I mean you can actually print, like you could resin print the goblet in 3 dimensions,
mhm.
and then just mold it with, actually mix up like a
Oh,
2-part mold rubber,
yeah, I see
put
what
it
you
into the
mean.
mold rubber, take the goblet out, like a 2-part mold,
Yeah.
and put it back together, and then pour, the metal into that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you'd probably get I've found with the low temperature metals and the different, because I use all the smooth on stuff. The smooth on stuff it's made for different types of things. Like if you're gonna like be pouring metal or brass or whatever it is. Um, I've gotten 25 to 30 pulls from a mold before the mold starts to degrade, especially with metal, especially with hot metal.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Because
I mean, you could also make the awards out of resin. If you did it out of resin, you could probably get like 50 to 100 pulls from a mold, which is resin.
right. Right.
If you were going to do like a 2-part resin, but I mean, the printer basically has resin, in it. So you're actually curing it with, I think, with UV light.
Yes.
You're curing. Okay. So you're using UV light to cure each layer, and then so yeah. Then yeah, there's different things. I mean, I guess you would love to do it out of metal, and you can. It's great, but sometimes you're like, going, this thing is too damn heavy. It's great for you, but when you go to ship it,
It's a pain in the ass, and then the shipping cost is
you have to
just
ship it because it's going to be like, gonna be like, whoa.
Well, the shipping cost is going to be astronomical because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's the one of the, that's one of the things with the studio scale models. When I build studio scale models, people just don't want to pay for the shipping. I'm like,
right?
But the shipping's like, I mean, the model itself is, I don't know, depending on how big it is, would be, well, let's see, it's in about the well, some are 5 pounds, some are 10 pounds, depending on what you're using as a superstructure. But when you add lighting to that, and you add electronics, and you add all this other stuff to it, it's really heavy.
Yeah.
And then when you're going to go ship it out, you're like, well, I have to ship it like this. I have to ship it in a box, and I have to ship it in a special box. So I have to make a special box. I have to put special packing in it. I have to ship it out. And then, when, you ship it out with like FedEx or whatever, those guys, I mean, their knuckles just drag on the ground, man. They take those boxes, they slam them in the air.
Yeah.
So if you ship it freight, like if it's a freight thing where you have to actually, create a hard, with it, like a wooden crate, and put foam in a wooden crate and then ship it out, then you're paying astronomical prices. You're paying anywhere from $400 to $700 for shipping, because it's all the weight. It's the weight of the wood. It's the weight of everything. I mean, you want to get it there, but there's better ways. So needless to say, Thomas, letting you know right now, once the janky is printed up, if you want it, you're gonna have to come and pick it up. I'm not shipping it. Yeah, or you could drive it to somebody's house. Like, I'm gonna drive there. Like get an Uber just to bring thing to him.
Like, it would be cheap. It would be cheaper for either him to come to me or me to go to him, than rather than to pay for his shipping.
Well, there was an idea that a friend of mine had to create 3D printing shops in different, so say like in different areas of the country, not really centralized to, in all 50 states, right? So that was his idea, to do all 50 states. I said, so what do you do? He goes, well, we would have these shops. They would have 3D printing services in them. And then if you wanted to sell something, say like you had an idea and you wanted to 3D print it, you 3D printed it, you would send the designs to, each of these shops. And if somebody wanted to buy it, you wouldn't have to ship it from where you were. So say like, I'm in Pennsylvania, and you and you saw the design, and you're in North Carolina,
South Carolina.
In South Carolina. So there would be a shop that would be centrally located to you, and then that design that I created or I wanted or whatever, I would, instead of you printing it out and sending it to me, they would just send the design to the shop and then print it out. It would be the thing. And then I would go to my place in Pennsylvania and go pick it up. Or they could send it to me because they were, in Pennsylvania, and it made sense. And it was a very good idea at the time. And I said, but you'd have to outlay there'd be.
No, I've heard of like businesses and structured that way, but instead of just having like a because they had the right idea in there being shops, but instead it would be just kind of like my setup here, here at home, and then I would just get the get an email of this is the design to be printed out for blah 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 this person. And oh, awesome. Thanks, James. I appreciate it. And thanks for joining. So we're just over here just talking about some techie nerd stuff. So hang around. So yeah, and but yeah, it would be essential just like something like me, set up in a home with a few printers, and we'll get an email of the file in order to print it out and say, hey, and it would have to be, because I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to do any kind of design enhancement or anything like that. I would have the printer, at the size in order to, print it out, however way I needed to. And essentially it was just, I would take the file, put it in my printer, print it out. And then, if it was somebody that's local to me, say like, 5 miles or less, then yeah, I would take it to them. Or it would just be a lot cheaper for me, to ship it out from there. And then boom.
Well, see that's what Shapeways did. Shapeways was just kind of like they were like I guess they were like a middle management company. They would get people who had printers. They would actually rent out printers, say from like you or whatever, and say, okay, well, we have these designs. They would have different designs. They had the Millennium Falcon cockpit, the 1/72nd scale, MPC, like Millennium Falcon. So they actually had highly detailed cockpit. It was so highly detailed it actually had the holes for the optical fibers.
Nice.
3D printed in it. So you could just put optical fibers in it and light the whole thing, and it looked just like the one from the movie. It didn't look like the horrible MPC, version. But you could get the figures and the cockpit. You could get just the cockpit. You could get all the interior of the Falcon if you wanted to. Exterior, you get like the exterior grills for all that other stuff. Those would be just designs that they had on hand. And if you worked for Shapeways, they would send you those designs and say, okay, well, this guy wants it, blah, 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 blah. And he's in your area, you ship it out from there. And that's how you would do it. But I mean, they had a lot of international customers. They had people from England. It's very, very difficult to get stuff in England. I don't know. I mean, I know that,
Yeah, because I think the last time I'd heard something about that, I think that there was some spots that were set up like that in Europe, but not that many. I think there was like a couple that were in England. I think maybe one or two in Germany. I think something like that, but really not that many.
Well, apparently, like the German models are like extremely detailed, like the Revell. If you had one of the Revell, say like Starship Enterprises, the 1/350 scale from the original series, and you had the Revell version, top notch. I mean, highly detailed. Everything great. Everything fits together. But you were gonna pay a premium for it, though. You were gonna pay like a lot of money. But the Shapeways stuff I used to get. I think they went out of business. I'm pretty sure they went out of business. You should just get all the stuff. But the things that usually sell are the things that I like to do are for certain models that are out there, like figures. You can't get figures for 1/144th scale. I've tried to find figures 1/144th scale. I have a 1/144th scale Forbidden Planet, ship the flying saucer. Okay. wanted to create the scene with the id monster coming through the like the energy gate, all this other stuff, and right the energy fence. That scene is classic. I know how to do all the lasers. I know how to do all the other stuff. I do not have the figures. The figures in 1/144th scale to scale with that ship would be awesome. That would be something that people would pay a premium for. You know, that you
absolutely.
I mean, you could probably sell it for $100. Easy. The whole set. You'd have Robbie the Robot. You'd have the little car. You'd have Anne Francis. Which is Altera. They make some of those for the 1/72nd scale, but the saucer in 1/72nd scale is I have some pieces downstairs of it. Somebody gave me some pieces. I put the bottom section together. It's 3 feet in diameter. It's a pretty big saucer. You'd have to have a lot of room.
Okay, I'll say this, man. You're lowballing yourself at 100, man. I started 200.
Oh yeah.
Said maybe 250. Not gonna lie.
I mean, you want it where people are actually going to be able to buy it. That's the thing. But I mean, if you were going to go that route with all the electronics, and I'd say yeah.
If I'm putting all the electronics in it, and let's say, even I'm going to go so far as like say putting like a sound module in it. So
right.
It hit warp engine, whatever the case is. Yeah. 250.
Yeah.
Give me, it's starting at 250. And Jay, let me ask you this, James. Says I see you make D&D dice, because I was thinking about this earlier, and I put it out and I asked on Blue Sky, because I'm debating on going into making mini D&D figures, and I was trying to gauge whether or not who all would be interested in it, what to charge, the whole nine. So any input, feedback that you would have would be extremely valuable. So shoot me a DM and let me know.
Yeah, I had asked that of Steve Neal, some time ago in 2017, and because I was debating whether I should, create the studio scale Invaders Flying Saucer, and he imparted some wisdom to me. He said, well, you have to look and see what other people are charging, and then you can charge a little bit less, but not much less, where like you're losing money.
Right.
So I said to him, well, if I created the saucer, because the original studio scale saucer is 48 inches in diameter, and I said, so if I make the 48-inch, saucer in, to those specifications and put in lights and sound and all this other stuff, he goes, he said I would sell it for a minimum of $25,000. And I was like, but you can do that because your name is Steve Neal. He said, no. He said, no. Because don't think like that. You have to think that, he said, you have to see the time that you put in, okay, the hours you put in,
okay,
the design of it, see, how complicated the design is. I mean, if it's a small figure, if you made, if you had to print out with like a resin printer, I don't know, like if you had if you print out 6 of the same figure, or 20 of the same figure, how many ever you're gonna sell.
Okay.
you have to look at uh, your cost of materials, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the resin on the printer, the upkeep of the printer, the power that you're using, the heat that you're using to keep yourself warm, the electricity that you're using. Um, you have to look at, everything that goes into making it. Your gloves, the spatula, all the stuff, all these things that you use to make, right? I'm sure you have like the washing station, the curing station. There are different, there are different components to that. You have to take into account all of that. Once you factor all that in, and then you put how much you are worth per hour, that's the price. And I said to him, I said, well, what if I just did this? And he goes, no. He goes, but he said, because I said, well, what if I, sell it for $1,000? He goes, you can sell it for $1,000, but you would be shortchanging yourself. And I said, okay. He goes, how long is the project going to take? I said, I don't know. I'd have to research it and just find out how long it'll take. I don't have all the studio, things that a Hollywood studio would have. I don't have a vacuum former.
Right.
I don't have this machine that does this. I don't have a 3D printer. These are my 3D printer. This is my 3D printer. Okay. This is the computer.
Right.
This is the printer. That's what I have. And he goes, well, if you're going to do it that way, old school, you have to take into account all that. And I was like, so how much did you charge? He goes, well, if you did like if you did it minimum wage, if you did, say you did $10 per hour and you spent, you record how many hours it took to print it, how many hours it took to cure it, to wash it, all this other stuff, and you took into account all this stuff, you'd probably come to like $2,000. You'd probably get to about, $1,500, maybe, $2,000.
Right.
And I said, I can't charge that, Steve. He goes, you have to charge that. I said, why? He goes, because if you don't, I said, if you do not charge what you're worth, and people take advantage of you when they go find it someplace else, it gives everybody else a bad name. So, it would give Steve Neal, because Steve Neal built the 66-inch Enterprise that he has, in his studio. He built that from scratch. He did that all by hand, and he built it from scratch. And he used to sell it for $25,000. But now he would probably charge $35,000 to $40,000 for it because he has to do it all by hand again. I mean, he has molds, which are easier,
right?
But but at the beginning, he was just doing it all by hand. Just making each one by hand. And I was like, wow. And he goes, yeah. He goes, and then, so.
Okay. All right.
So those figures that you're going to create.
Yeah. Basically, I have to take into account, like, just how you said, the electricity that we're going to use, the fan, box fans that I'm going to use, gloves, alcohol, even all of that. So
the drinking kind, the curing kind. No, I meant sorry, the curing kind.
The curing kind.
Sorry. Yeah, but yeah.
But James, there is a project that I'm also going to be, working with silicone with as well. Because it's something that I saw a while back. I want to say maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. That
all right. What do you want to build? I'm here. Here you are. Is the Helpdesk? Go ahead.
This is something that's going to be beneficial. It's going to be helpful, because again, that's just the type of person I am. At heart,
Okay.
you know, at my core, the reason why I got into 3D printing to actually begin with was because I saw a YouTube video of a guy that made a Winter Soldier arm for a disabled kid, and he loved Marvel, and so he made him a Winter Soldier arm, and I was like, I want to do that for somebody one day, and that's what started my whole spark on wanting to do on the 3D printing rabbit hole. So
Cool.
So with that being said, a couple weeks ago, as I was scrolling through the TikTok streets, I came across this one video that was talking about a special kind of condom to deter certain type of aggressive individuals. The name of the condom is called well, I'm not going to show. I'm not sure if I can say it on YouTube, so I'm going to spell it out. It's an anti-RAPE condom,
Okay.
and which essentially is that the way it looks is that I think I could draw the mold out, resin print it, and use it with silicone. So, but I have to figure out how to work with silicone and how well would that would deal with resin, you know.
Depends on
And,
what type of silicone you're going to use. So
right.
the one I use for most things is smooth on. It's called Umu 25. Umu 25 is it's an RTV silicone, so it's room temperature vulcanization. All right. So
Okay.
at room temperature, maybe 70 degrees and above, it will cure. Usually it could cure overnight. You want to take the bubbles out, you would get something called a vacuum chamber. So it would be like a vacuum pot. It kind of
Okay.
looks like a cooking pot, but it has a lucite top with a silicone layer on it. It has like a little vacuum gauge, and then it has a hose that goes to a vacuum pump. And what
Okay.
that does is it pulls out all of the bubbles out of the mold rubber before you pour it
Okay.
around your subject. So whatever it is, the model that you're going to create.
Yeah.
For figures on bases, what I would do is I use a little bit of hot glue. Like, so you would make a mold box. So the thing is be like a mold box. You can make it easily. I mean, you could use melamine if you wanted to in the box, whatever. But then you would actually just glue it to the base and then just pour the silicone around it and let it cure. But you would take all the bubbles out of that. When you're doing your if you're going to do a resin, well, let's see. The thing is going to be made out of silicone, right?
Yeah.
So if it's going to be made out of silicone, you want to use a more rigid mold. You could use resin to pour around a silicone.
But I suppose if I get the like a high strength or maybe a flexible resin would work to kind of help with the mold of it. But I'm not sure.
Well, you'd have to use a more. Well, you'd have to use like it depends.
But
okay, so the.
But I would definitely have to use a high tough. The high tough is high tough resin, But I'm not sure if the flexible, because the flexible resin, that's extremely tough. And then
NinjaFlex? Is it NinjaFlex? Oh no, sorry, that's FDM. That's the FDM filament. That's NinjaFlex. It's a
yeah,
flexible.
no, it's a flexible one. Yeah, and
If you're talking silicon, the best stuff to use is called Dragon Skin from Smooth On.
okay,
That's the stuff I use for. I mean, you can use it as a mold medium, but you can also use it in something called soft robotics, where you can actually make air bladders. That's what they use for when, like, in Hollywood special effects, when like when when like your skin expands on your face or whatever, and you start getting like when you start to hulk out of your clothes or whatever. That's what
right.
that's used for. That's silicone. It's
Yeah.
pigmentable, so you can pigment it to flesh. You can get a good skin tone with whatever your skin tone is, and then you would basically blow it up like a balloon, and it would look like your hand is expanding or your face is expanding. But that's called dragon skin.
Okay.
It has a shore hardness of the shore hardness is actually it's the hardness of the silicon. So there's another silicon that Smooth On makes called EcoFlex. And EcoFlex you can make like tank treads out of. So you could pigment it in black, make tank treads. And the shore hardness would be the hardness of the silicon. Would it be like it's not going to droop, it's going to be almost like a flexible tank tread. So you can make flexible tank treads out of it.
Okay.
You can make things, you can actually coat wheels with it and stuff like that. You can actually repair tires with it too. Like if you had like a cut in your tire, you could take EcoFlex and repair your tire with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Like a gouge taken out of the rubber, you can actually do that. So, but yeah, there's different ones. The Helpdesk at Smooth On is fantastic. I call them up and I go, I want to do this, and they go, oh yeah, we know how to do that. I'm like, oh, you did that before. You want? Yeah. He goes, yeah, you want this, you want that, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, and if you ever need us to tell you, how with it, how to mix it up, we have video tutorials on the site. They have 1 million video tutorials of everything on their site. They're fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, they're stored. Yeah.
Jay,
James said,
one of my minis better be armed with. Said, yes, James. One of the minis will have a brick. I will make sure that there's going to be one that has a brick. Because again, have you ever seen anybody that goes into a fight with a brick and lose? Nope. Never happens. Never happens.
Or like a Winter Soldier arm.
Right? Yeah. And with Chuckles, with the Alita Battle Girl, I haven't seen that one. I would look for that one.
What is it called?
Alita Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a sequel coming out.
Is it? Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Really good. Yeah. So, what James was mentioning in the chat, the pressure pot. It's only 60. It's only 60 psi.
Okay.
We'll take bubbles out of resin. So if you're doing resin castings, you would put it into a pressure pot. The vacuum chamber is basically creating a vacuum. It's actually pulling air out of it. So you can use that to take bubbles out of your molds, to make your molds very clean. Because if you have bubbles in your molds, when they dry, the bubbles may burst. They may not have come to the surface. And they will get into the actual casting. So when you go to cast, something, and then like you take it out of the mold, like your figurine has all these little warts all over it, and you go, "What the hell happened?" Well, you didn't take the bubbles out of you didn't take the like bubbles out of
Yeah, it's either
thing. So that's basically what the vacuum chamber does. But the vacuum chamber also can take bubbles out of clear casting. So when I'm doing, so say like right now, what I'm doing is I'm casting up pieces for the kryptonite crystal, the one that you create the Fortress of Solitude with. So I have a 2-part mold.
Okay.
It's green pigmented, so I actually put green in it. It's clear resin, but I have to basically, I vacuum that like 12 times,
Right.
So I put parts A and B of clear into a plastic, like a plastic jar or whatever, like a plastic thing, like a plastic cup, and then I put the pigment in,
right.
I mix it all around. As you're mixing, you're creating bubbles. So you put that into the vacuum pot, and it basically bubbles up. It takes all the bubbles out. It brings all the bubbles to the surface. It pops all the bubbles, and then it kind of settles down. But I vacuum that like 12 times, and I get a very clear casting. No bubbles in the casting when it sets up. You don't want that. So
No,
yeah, that's the...
No, yeah, I could definitely understand that, because on one of my printers, I have no idea why, but I don't use it anymore just simply because of this reason. But for whatever reason, I don't get it. It always has bubbles in it. And whenever it goes to harden, it shoots with a UV, it either has a warp out or warps in, but it's never like kind of how it's supposed to be.
The rule I go by with resin is called TTH, time, temperature, and humidity. How much time, the resin sits, the temperature, what is the ambient room temperature, and what is the humidity level inside the room. If the humidity is too high, you're going to get more bubbles. I always have two, like dehumidifiers going in the basement to take all that moisture out of the air, because moisture just kills silicon.
Oh yeah, I know. But see, here's the thing: is that my other printers, because and I don't know why, because the one that doesn't want to cooperate, it's an Elegoo, and I don't know why Elegoo I don't know why mine decides it wants to be like that. I don't know why, but that's just me. My Anycubic ones, those work flawless, but under the same conditions, is my Elegoo one, it just every time.
It's very finicky. It's probably the resin that you're using.
No, but that's just it. No, here's the thing: is I nothing changes as far as the temperature that I do, the humidity, because I have a bunch of mini humidifiers and one big ass one. So I do my best to keep the humidity levels the way it is. The temperature, I always keep it within 70, 75. that's just how I do. And it's just that one. And here's the thing. And I go online and I see reviews and everybody that's using it. I see, the TikToks and YouTube videos of the exact same model. Perfect print every time. But mine, I just got the janky one, I guess. I don't know. It just doesn't want to do anything. And I know it can.
So you're getting bubbles and you're getting...
I'm getting bubbles and divots and...
warpage?
Yeah. But, yeah, but my other two, they work out better. And they're higher quality. So, hey. So eventually one day I'll either figure out, exactly what's going on with it and fix it. Or I'll just say screw it and try to sell it off onto some poor soul that can fix it. Because this poor soul can't. Or at least not today anyways.
Well, yeah, we'll have to look into that. Yeah. So the one with the warpage is what, the DLP printer, or what is
No, the DLP printer. It's in Anycubic. Is my best quality one, but it's at the same time it's also the smallest one.
And then the one with so the one giving you the problems is the Elegoo Mars, right?
Yeah, the Mars 2. It's a Elegoo Mars 2 Pro.
Oh, that's the 2 Pro.
Yep. And so, again, it's slightly bigger than my Anycubic one because I have a Anycubic Photon D2. So it's slightly bigger than that. Not by much, but it's slightly bigger. But still,
I would look and see how the curation light is working. If it's working up to optimal.
The funny thing is that
function.
The funny thing is I do all the diagnostics and everything like that, and I lurk all through the Reddit, the subreddit, the 3D printing subreddits.
Yeah.
And haven't been able to figure it out yet. So, yeah, I maybe I have a gremlin in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking at, there's one that they use at the Weta Workshop in New Zealand. I believe Adam Savage had went there and did it. It was a resin. It's a resin printer, but it prints under vacuum. So it actually mixes the two parts A and B. So they were making lenses for a helmet, and I think it was for Halo, for like the series Halo, and they were making these lenses for the helmets. And for like the the Halo TV series that was briefly on Amazon Prime. I think it's on Paramount Network. I'm on Paramount. But
Paramount Plus.
But they were doing some pieces for the helmet, like Weta Workshop. So they had this new printer. It's like $150,000. This thing is like awesome, but it actually, when it injects like the resin into the mold, it injects it under vacuum. So there's like no chance of bubbles or anything like that. And they made like 4 lenses for each helmet, and they came out flawless. I was like, wow! They just pulled apart the mold, and they're like, yep. Here's one. Me, I'd be like, I took that little piece out. I took that little piece out, and I had to kind of glue it together like a
Is
jigsaw
it?
puzzle. I got it.
No, with me, my clumsy ass, first thing I do is I try to take the supports off, and half the print would go off with it. Just snap. Somebody got some super glue. Somebody got some super glue.
I told you the first time I tried to make the mold box. I think I told you that. I tried to cast something. I tried to make this mold box that they told me to, like they told me how to make it in Micromark catalog. I made the thing out of wood, and I made the whole thing, and I tried to cast the part and everything. I'm pouring in the resin. I'm like this part is like very, very small, and I'm pouring it in. And I'm mixing up more resin. I'm pouring it in. I didn't know it was leaking out of the bottom of the box, and it was coming. It was like coming toward me, and I didn't know it was. I had this desk in my thing, and it's like the first time I'm doing this. I'm sitting down, and the resin is all over the leg of my jeans, and it's like drip. And I didn't know. I'm like going, hey, my leg is getting kind of warm. What happened? And I looked down. I went, oh my god! And I inadvertently made stormtrooper armor. At that point, so because my leg was all white with resin. My pants were soaked in resin, and they hardened like stormtrooper armor. So I was like, oh, look at that! I made a leg stormtrooper armor. And then so.
No, you neglected to tell me that story because I would have remembered that one.
Oh, I thought I told you that one. Okay. That was a
no, because I would
first time I ever made a mold.
I would have remembered stormtrooper legs.
I had a chemical burn though because because
the resin
gets to the resin cures at 300 degrees, 200. I forget what it is. 200 like 325 degrees.
Yeah,
and it's an exothermic reaction, so it basically stuck to the hairs of my leg, and I'm trying to pull my pants off, and I couldn't, and I couldn't get my pants off fast enough. And I was like, and I'm like, screaming, and yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
I'm like this little part, and I'm like, I mean, I had like, I think I had like 20 ounces, man. I'm mixing up 20 ounces. I'm pouring it in. I'm like, damn, this thing's taking a long time to pour it. It's all coming out the back. It dripped on the floor. It hardened on the floor. So the next day, I found out that if I can make like, a waterfall with it. I was like, oh, that's a really cool effect because all the resin that was dripping off of my table hardened. It hardened midway down, and it created this waterfall effect. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I could use that in this. So
that is pretty cool.
I use that on a couple of dioramas. I didn't pour it on my pants anymore because it just didn't.
Didn't agree with you. It just didn't agree with you. So yeah, I get it.
It didn't agree with me now.
Yeah, I get it. Understandable. I read a story to get the 3D printing subreddit where somebody was guy was he had a resin print going, and he got some resin on his arm. Didn't think anything of it, so he figures that instead of wiping it off, instead of alcohol and a paper towel and wiping it off, he didn't want to waste alcohol, didn't want to waste a paper towel, so he went out into the sun. So he let it dry, and then figured it would dry up, and it'd flake off, and it just pull off. And the most it would take off would be like a couple forearm hairs, and he'd be fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nope. Not so much. Not so much. He said it started burning. And he said he could see his skin started bubbling, and it was like, ah,
Chemical burn, yeah.
yeah,
Chemical burn.
and he could not get he could not get the alcohol on it fast enough to wipe it off, and he said as soon as he put the alcohol in, it burned even more. I was like, yeah. He was in a bad way with that burn. Oh,
Yeah,
he was in bad straits, but
yeah.
but he posed it as a cautionary tale for anybody that was thinking about doing that, and saying don't.
Don't walk into the sun with that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he was the only one that decided to do something like that.
Yeah, there was a printer back in the I think when like the resin printers first came out, and it had it was a industrial printer, I remember, and it had these very long, like black light tubes in it. It was like it was like a vertical printer, but it was very, very. It only printed stuff 2.5 to 3 inches tall, and it would print stuff, and it printed stuff upside down. The build plate was down in the bath and everything, but it used a combination of resin printing and ultrasonics, and I remember it was a bath. It was a kinetic. It was like a kinetic. It was like a wave acoustical kinetic energy resin, and it was the most expensive stuff on the planet. Like a gallon of this resin was in the thousands of dollars, and they used and it would it would pull the stuff out of the bath, and it would be flawless. I'm like, wow, there's no bubbles in it. It's all nice and everything. They used to make.
Oh, for that much, it better be.
They used to make like medical, things with it, if you broke a bone, or if you if they did the one thing I remember that they made was they made a piece of this guy's skull, that was lost in an accident. So instead of they reconstructed his skull, but the piece that they had to put back, instead of putting the metal plate, they did it with this resin printer, and they did the plate, and so, but it created like the curvature of his head, and this was back in the 90s. This was like, this is before, all this AI technology that we have now that can scan everybody. They had to
draw it by hand.
Had to take what?
They almost basically had to draw it by hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had to digitally draw it by hand. They had to do it like digitally on a computer, but they didn't have any type of scanning technology, so they didn't have a 3D scanner at the time, which would have saved them
countless hours.
So what they had to basically do is do a life cast of this guy's head without the piece, and then kind of reconstructed on the computer how that plate would have went back, and then they made the plate on this 3D printer. And I remember it was called kinetic energy resin, something like that. And it was like I think at the time it was like $5,000 a gallon, and they needed a lot. I didn't understand why they needed so much of it, but it used an ultrasonic, like they would bombard the bath with ultrasonics.
Okay.
To
harden it and
to harden it in the bath, and then they would
to cure it
cure it. Yeah. And it was like it was like a clear amber color. And I was like, so then how are they going to do it? So then there was this other doctor who was working on bone regeneration in France. And what he did was he took stem
Mm-hmm.
cells, put the stem cells onto the resin in a certain
Okay.
pocket, and he actually grew the bone back to the plate, which actually grew into
Mm-hmm.
the guy's skull. I was like, wow. It's like
Wow,
so cool.
that is impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could understand why that resin would cost like into the thousands like that, because you got to look at it as, um, is it, you got to make sure it's non-toxic. You got to make sure that it has the right strength.
Well,
You know,
not
yeah.
it, being used for medical purposes and being experimental. I'm sure it was
Mm.
all types of toxic, but
Well, I mean, not the killing kind of toxic, or at least
well,
not the immediate killing kind of toxic. 20 years
yeah,
toxic,
yeah,
like
I
10,
mean,
like,
yeah,
now let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20 year toxic. Yeah. But tomorrow toxic? No.
yeah. I mean, they done a lot with teeth, like my
Mm.
with my dentist. I had like when I was younger, I had braces, and the braces were like the old kind,
Mm.
and, like the wire and all this other stuff. The one wire basically um, dug into one of the, you know, one of the molars in the back of my, like back of my mouth, and it created a hole. It basically created this
Oh.
hole in the tooth. So he was like, I could fill that. I said, what would you fill that with? He goes, well, I would use this special resin. It's a food grade resin that we would
Mm.
use. And he goes, and then I would, I'd match the color of the tooth. And I was like, okay. So he filled it in. He matched the color of the tooth, and he actually did it with it was an ultraviolet resin. Like cured it cured ultravioletly.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go look at the tooth. I'm like, so which tooth is it? I could not figure it out. Like there was no hole. Everything was shaped the way it was. I was like, it's like I put a brand new tooth in my mouth. I was like, what the hell, man? It's impressive, very, very impressive. I was like, that is so cool.
That's awesome,
But
because I mean,
yeah,
usually you would think you would at least see like some kind of an outline, or something,
nothing,
whether it be
nothing.
like
It
a little too far out, a little bit maybe not far, a little too far in, something you would see. But man,
and yeah, he matched the
but
shading of all the other teeth, and I was like,
but
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this
but
is
it,
amazing.
but
He said,
again,
yeah,
I
they've been
guess,
doing so many things with teeth now.
yeah.
They can actually
Hmm?
grow the dentin through stem cells, which I found, but they cannot, produce the enamel. They cannot grow the enamel yet, but they can 3D print
Hmm.
the dentin. The dentin is the actual
Oh,
stuff
okay.
that,
Okay.
so your uh, your your tooth enamel, right? The white part, which is your teeth, that's the enamel.
Mm-hmm.
The dentin is actually, it's like a fibrous tissue that where all with it, like where all the nerves lie, like all the nerves grow in, inside the dentin, that holds the mass of the tooth to your jawline. And that's where, so when you get a cavity or you have a toothache, whatever, that's a sign that, that the enamel is wearing down. But I mean, they could fill that in. The new fillers are not the old mercury fillers they used to put in our teeth, where you have you have like that black or like silver, mercury
Yeah, yeah.
in your teeth, because they found out that was, toxic. So they put this new white stuff in, and the white stuff, because I had one done, and I was like, "Where's the cavity?" And they go, "Oh, we drilled it out." But where's the cavity? I'm like, so where's the filling? He goes, "Oh, no, we put the white resin in, and we actually contoured it to the inside of the tooth so it looks natural." I was like, I can't tell where it is. He goes, good.
So that's the point.
Yeah, because that's the point. And I'm like, wow, they really, really did a fantastic job. I was like, wow. So yeah, they're doing things with 3D printing now. So
yeah, and everything from just like simple dentures to veneers, and I think I saw something where they had where you could do like the snap-on stuff.
Oh yeah,
the snap-in dentures. Yeah, and
yeah. The implants are are basically it's a resin tooth, but it needs so they basically have to put a screw into your jaw. So if you lost a tooth there, they put a screw in there, and they put the tooth in, and they use this Allen wrench. It's like this little Allen wrench drill.
Yeah, to kind of tighten it.
Yeah,
to tighten it in there.
Yeah, be like the Terminator. You have that. Yeah, but yeah, I had a couple of teeth that I lost. I lost only like two, like one here. But he said, I'm going to put this bone in to grow, into the jawline after I take the tooth out. So he goes, if you want implants in the future, you can get them. And I was like, I kind of really don't need those teeth, but I'm like, yeah. He said, well, when you do, the bone will be there. I said, okay, all right, well, that's good to know. So yeah.
Hey, keeping your options open. Hey,
it'd be really cool to have like the screw-in ones, like do like the vampire teeth, like take out your incisors and put vampire teeth in there.
I thought about
Blade for Halloween, and just take the teeth out, put the other ones in. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
that. You know what? I think I might do that too. Because who doesn't need a set of vampire teeth, right?
Yeah, there were like when I used to go to the conventions, they had like vampire teeth you could put on with they had Polydent, so you can actually just glue them onto their like glue them over your own teeth.
Nice. Yeah, so you don't have to look like the one jackass with wax teeth in your mouth.
Yeah. We used to have those back in the 70s when we were kids.
The big plastic
vampire teeth
would make your mouth go like this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. As that Choco says, I have one reconstructed broken front tooth. Keep neglecting to get my teeth cleaned so it's a stain resistant and permanently whiter than the other natural teeth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Choco. I'm laughing. I'm sorry I'm laughing, man. I just had a picture of my head, right? Of it being late at night. And you just open your mouth, and then just the one tooth is like a flashlight. That's where my mind goes, Chuckles. I'm sorry, man. Sorry. The only thing I can tell you is sorry.
You have a warped mind, my friend. Welcome to the club. It's probably all that Superplex party time you've been getting with Thomas, because you just. I watch Superplex Party and I look at it and I'm like going, he just wants to reach through that microphone and just strangle him.
Sometimes.
Punch you right
But
in the throat.
Right in the throat. Right in the throat. Just same thing I just want to do with some other people, just right in the throat. Everybody just wants to just all about the everybody at this with this whole election and everything like that. My gosh. And again, like I was saying before the show, we were talking about that cybersecurity now is going to go right down the shitter, because of as Thomas so eloquently puts it, the magical melting man of Mar-a-Lago. Which, and I say that because here in 2016, no, not 2016, 2017, no, 2016 and 2017, his social media got hacked twice. And all because he used just really poor passwords. And I say that to get to this. Use strong passwords, people. Multi-factor authentication. It'll save you a lot. It'll save you a lot, money, headache, emails, save you from going to jail. Just saying,
Well, the other thing is, change your password every 3 months. I know it's a pain in the ass. Change your password. Do not have the same password for like everything. Like, don't have the same password for Instagram. Don't have the same password for Facebook. Don't have the same password for Amazon. Don't have the same password for any of these things that you use every single day. I know it's a real pain in the butt. You keep that stuff in your phone.
Right.
You can keep it on a computer. You keep it on a piece of paper. There is a password book that you could buy and just put it down on a pad or whatever. But just change them every 3 months.
So please
make them, use a special character, use a special like special letter, special character, stuff like that.
Yeah, mix it up with uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters.
Right.
It'll save you. It'll save you a lot. It'll save you a lot.
And when you can use two-factor authentication, the two-factor authentication is good. Have it go to your phone, because not a lot of people have your phone number. In case they do have your phone number and they can spoof your number, then just change it. Like if you think that you've gotten hacked.
I've already thought in cybersecurity, and it's now second place contractor only behind Lockheed Martin. Boeing is now distant third. Oh, you could be right, Chuckles. You could be right. But I'm just saying that the article I read is predicting that next year it's going to go to the cans. But
it's going to go down to Twitter. So.
It's going to go down the X. Down the X hole.
Down the X.
It's going down the X hole. But who knows? He could have learned his lesson and tighten up all the security now. So we'll just have to wait and see.
We doubt it, but
We just have to wait and see. But all I know is this: I'm going to keep myself fully prepared. You know, multi-factor authentication, and keeping not going to all the not going to the hub. Keeping all that off my system. But that's me. I don't like getting hacked. It's not fun. It's not fun at all.
It's not fun to get hacked.
But anyway, that is my PSA. Old man screaming in the cloud moment. That's it. I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, I think I got hacked this year on Facebook. Somebody, spoofed an account, and they said, "George, you sent me all this stuff." I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, whatever." I just changed my password, and I really didn't want to have to set up the two-factor authentication, because usually stuff when we're setting up two-factor authentication for for our accounts for the radio station.
Yeah.
Thomas will give me the code, but I'll be like, I did this at 2:00 in the morning. Is he going to respond? And then he doesn't respond till 11 in the morning. I'm like, I just did this at 2. He goes, why the hell did you do this at 2:00 in the morning? My phone's going, I'm like, well, that's when I was up. I was up then. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Can't, they couldn't do it in the daytime. And
well, see, if he enabled it to where you could use the Authenticator app,
right?
Then
right.
You'd be good to go on that one then.
Yeah, so we're gonna probably have to set that up too. Yeah, I think that would save us. Usually Jeff is good about that, but I don't want to have to bother him either.
So let's see. What's it? Chuck will say, ask this. Let me ask you this then. Thinking security and the Villains Guild. Discord was a data mining platform. So how safe is that? Well, I would say, considering how some of the stuff I've heard of that has been on Discord, let's say you don't want to post any personal information on Discord. I'll put it like that.
Or any Air Force intelligence.
No. 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 But as far as the guild Discord goes, quite honestly, the most everybody does on the guild Discord is just kind of posting memes, posting information, sharing the TikToks that that they did of just teachable moments, stuff like that. We don't really use it to like mine data, just use it to share our thoughts. So,
and if you wanted to cancel our thoughts on Birdemic on Discord, you could, because maybe that would be like a blessing for us.
So I said, F Birdemic, F that movie, F it. And I want there's a lot more I want to say, but
we might get banned.
We get kicked off the air.
We get kicked off the air.
But I would say, but again, like I would say on Discord, you don't want to post anything personal. Not in the. No. But of course, again, that applies with like all social media. But with Discord, with the reputation that it had of with the reputation that it has, yeah, you really don't want to share much on that.
Discord is good, like for watch parties. If you're gonna do a watch party or something like that,
It is good for that. You know, it does.
It's kind of like YouTube, a little bit like YouTube. You can actually post stuff from YouTube to Discord. If you don't have a premium account, you really can't watch, say, like a 2-hour movie. So say like if you guys did plot a-holes on Discord and you're watching a movie from the internet, I would say if you don't have the premium, I think Thomas does have the premium account.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have that, your video of copyrighted images should be okay. Like if you wanted to watch a whole movie.
Yeah.
But I found that if you don't have a premium account, I posted some stuff like Battlestar Galactica because I'm part of a Battlestar Galactica group. Like a friend of mine had wanted me to join, and I was like, okay, so I joined. And I was just testing it out just to see if we could play an episode of Battlestar Galactica. I played a clip from YouTube, and I was able to play the clip, but the clip was 26 minutes long, but I could only play like 10 minutes of it because it was copyrighted. And I was like, okay.
So it does have some limitations then.
Yeah, it has some limitations in it. If you do have the premium account and say like the movie was on a DVD in your computer, you could play it from your computer, and then you would just basically share your screen like with Discord, and play the movie from your computer through Discord, and then all your friends who want to join in on the watch party can watch it on their computers. Kind of like Zoom. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Let's see, James says, someone steals my identity, they might raise my credits horrendous. Funny thing is, James, I used to say this a long time, that if somebody ever stole my identity and they would try and they would look at my credit score, they were like, yo, let me just help this dude out and let me pay a bill or something for him because he needs help. But
they'd be in worse shape if they
right. But
didn't do it.
But if to DM me, either one, I'm on everywhere and nowhere all at once at the same time. So yeah, either one is fine. I am everywhere and nowhere, much like a ninja.
I'm Marvel Jesus.
Yes. I'm Marvel Jesus.
Here he comes. I'm Marvel Jesus. Dog pool.
Oh gosh.
Well, yeah. When we get on when we do the model show, I could show you the models that I have. A friend of mine who does props,
okay,
like for movies for a living. He gave me resin reproductions of Deadpool's, of his Desert Eagles, and I haven't painted them yet. I was going to paint them black, and I was going to paint them silver. And then after I saw the Wolverine and the Deadpool movie, I was like, "Oh, I got to do, I got to do the gold-plated guns because the guns are very accurate. They're like very, very accurate. and in the front of each of the model guns, it says "Smile and wait for the flash." That's actually printed on the end of the barrel of the compensator of each gun. And I was like, "Oh my god! If I did that in gold, I could do the letters in black. Oh, that would be great." So,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm glad I waited.
And I would say that's the funniest scene in that whole movie. Well, to me, it was anyway. The whole movie was funny, but that scene right there, when he grabbed the other one and put it in front of him, when he got shot and he grabbed his guns. I was like,
I mean, you can't regenerate.
"You mean you can't? Oh, oh no. Well, guess who's got his guns now?"
Yeah, that's great.
And then I saw where somebody, well, of course, naturally, just scrolling through these TikTok streets and seeing people there printing out, Wolverine masks, and cannot be mad because honestly, I do the same thing too. But I'm trying to print out the Wolverine claws that I saw that on this TikToker. She was on YouTube. I forget her name.
Oh, the one who did the Arduino ones, the ones that actually come out.
Yes.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, I forget. I forget what she goes by. It's something the engineer. I know she's an engineer. I know that. All I know, or at least that's what I can remember. It's too much marijuana. But anyways, yeah. For any of you all that has not seen it, this lady, she's an engineer, and she made the Wolverine retractable claws, like in Deadpool and Wolverine, with the same color blue and everything like that. But she would do her hands like this, and then the claws would come out. Then she put her hands like that, claws would go back in. I would say very impressive. Too much for me because I'm too lazy to do it. So I know I could, but I just don't want to. It's just I'm too lazy.
Kind of fun.
But let's see, Jay. All right, you said to me on TikTok. Let me make sure I got it real quick. Let's see, because this is highly professional for me to check my social media while I'm on the air. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Hold up. I don't say anything. So no, I'll say try send it to me on IG, James. Because for whatever reason, it's not showing to me on these TikTok streets. So. And yeah. But oh yeah. There we go. So now, with that being done, You know. So the modeling show. Are we gonna start that this Saturday?
I don't know. I don't know if I should start it after the holiday. You want to do it? Want to do it in December after the holiday?
Hey, I'm flexible either way, man.
Okay.
So, however way you want to do it.
I'll try to. I was thinking we could have a meeting or something like that, like just like four of us. It would be like you, me, Gretchen, and James.
Okay.
And then we would just have a meeting and say when we want to do this. I figure I figure the episode would go for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do 2 hours, we can, but that might give us more time to have a guest on. If you want to have a guest, because I'm gonna have there's a couple of people I know. I want to have on, but
no, hour is fine. Hour is fine if you wanna stick with an hour, because then
yeah,
yeah.
I just didn't want it to be too long, but because if we're it would be kind of like a show and tell where we're showing all of our creations and stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff to show. I have a lot of techniques that I do, but I don't have I don't have a lot of models that I could show. So what we're talking about here is I guess I had wanted to do a model show, kind of like where we're showing like Hollywood models, how they're built, how they're used, the different types of movies that these models would be in. So what a studio scale model is. Then we'd be talking about like plastic model kits and new and upcoming kits, and we'd actually talk to people. So the name of the show is called Model Citizen. That I create. Well, I really didn't create that. ChatGPT did. So I had to give credit where credit's due. But I came up with the name Model Citizen. That's all I came up with. But I figured I wanted to do this show, and we're gonna have Gilbert on because he does 3D modeling. I do old school modeling where like I make plastic models. I don't model clothes. Okay. Gretchen kind of mistaken that. She's like, what kind of modeling is that? I was like, no, we don't model clothes or anything like that. We make plastic models.
It's like not that kind of modeling.
Not that kind of modeling. Yeah. Strike that. So yeah, it was going to be that, and then we would actually have guests on from from special effects. I know a couple people in the industry. We'd have John McCallum on. We'd have Mark Myers. People like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even Steve Neal can talk about some of the models he's built over the years. In Hollywood, he worked on a lot of like the Roger Corman movies and all this other stuff. So, that show's coming up, and it'll probably be on. We'll probably have a podcast on Saturday, but we will broadcast it out. I don't know if it's going to be a live thing. Like if you want to do it on the radio, we can. But yeah, that's one of the shows that we came up with. The other one that Gretchen wanted to do, where we kind of accidentally created our own computer retro gaming show. You
got that gaming.
I'm working on the outline for that. So there should be a retro gaming show coming up.
Yeah, because I know a couple people from the Villains Guild. I know that they'd love to come on the show, because they're huge gamers. From everything new to basically everything from the original Nintendo all the way up to the PS5. So
I don't know about Thomas. Maybe he had Hands Down or Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I don't. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, I just
connected with
remember.
Oh, hey, hold up. Chuckle said, would you guys like me to connect you to the Steel Phasma, the armorsmith who made their own steel armor based on Captain Phasma from Star Wars?
Oh,
Hey,
cool. All right.
cool. Absolutely, man. That'll be awesome.
Sure. Yeah, the model show is supposed to be well. I wanted to kind of encompass, props as well. Maybe some,
Hmm.
maybe like some cosplay stuff because there is that facet of
Yeah,
that in there. Special effects, makeup, costuming, stuff like that.
yeah. And all
So
the,
that's basically what the show was going to be about.
okay, yeah. And all the, the guests that be coming on with, the models they make, it'll be from all kind of different genres of movie or, um,
Yeah, people who've
yeah.
done special effects, makeup, people who have done costumes, like different costumes or whatever.
Like
Maybe
from
some collectors.
like horror, sci-fi, fantasy, just pretty much kind of
And that was
any
it.
kind of genre.
And then I can finally snag my friend David Ayers. I just want to get him on the damn show. I don't care.
Really,
What
just
show
one
it is. I
of
don't care
them.
if I want it to be the rules of Nerdquisition, but now it has to be this Paul show. I need to get him on there. And he's like, "I'm really busy." I said, "I understand you're busy, but just, dude, it's an hour out of your life."
He's like, he said, David, yeah. Understand you're busy, but you know what? F all that. We need you on the show. I understand you're busy, but F all that. We need you on the show, man. That's all it is to it. It's an hour. It's an hour just talking about stuff that
it's an hour out of your life.
It's an hour just talking about stuff that you love. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on,
now
man.
We're talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Come on, I want to talk about Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Said, come on, man. Said this is an official plea. This is an official plea from the help desk to David Ayers.
I'm gonna send him a text. I'm gonna be on my hands and knees like this, like please.
He need you on the show. It's just an hour, man.
Send it to him and say, okay, I'm on my hands and knees begging you to come on to the show.
Say, it's just an hour, man. It's just an hour.
It's just an hour out of your life, and then it'll end with it. And then it'll be saved in perpetuity. There you go.
It's just an hour. You could do an hour. Everybody could do an hour. You could do an hour.
Do an hour standing on your head. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
I promised Gretchen I would get him on the show. Like, well, I want the rules of Nerdquisition. Well, it's like, but he doesn't do anything with Star Trek. I mean, he did, back in the day, he did masks. He did masks for Buck Rogers in the 25th century. So he did that. He did masks for the original Battlestar Galactica. So he did all the Ovions. He did the singers with the cabaret singers. He did all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. That was all him. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, you got to talk about it.
Right, man.
Yeah, we'll get him on. Yeah,
So again, David.
I'll have to bribe him. Bribe David.
It's just an hour, man. It's just an hour. You could do an hour. Everybody could do an hour. What's an hour? Again, it's an hour. You could do an hour. That's okay, man. That's a 45-minute Netflix show with a couple commercials. You could do an hour.
It's an hour.
It's just an hour. It's an episode of Superman. Everybody could do an episode of Superman.
So that's what it was basically going to be. You guys are supposed to be doing Star Trek: The Motion Picture next, right?
We're doing that coming up.
Rules of Nerdquisition.
We're doing that coming up on Sunday. That is correct.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Did you contact Aaron Doctorman?
I did not. I totally forgot.
Okay.
I totally forgot. I appreciate you reminding.
He worked on Star Trek: The Motion Picture as well. Sad bit of news. A gentleman I've known of. I've never. Well, I can't say I did not meet him. I did meet him in 2017 at Steve Neal's Halloween party with his girlfriend Tammy Klein. Glenn Campbell had passed away. So Glenn Campbell, if you look him up, two N's, Glenn Campbell, not the singer Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell is a visual effects artist. He worked on Star Trek: The Motion Picture. He worked on Spaceballs. What else? TV. I think he worked on the X-Files, Space Above and Beyond on TV for Chris Carter. Those were all Chris Carter shows. He was I think he was supervising. I think he was supervisor for visual effects for the Asylum. So, the Asylum studio in California. He was like a project manager, like a project head. He would oversee all those projects with all the visual effects and everything else going on. He was a great guy. I met him in 2017. Really nice guy, really funny, and he passed away this past Saturday. So just wanted to mention that. But we were going to have him on we were either going to have him on the Rules of Nerdquisition because he was involved with Helios, heavily. Tammy's girlfriend is also involved with Helios, so we'll have I guess you'll guys, we'll have Tammy on, or Steve will have Tammy on. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, hey, here, I'm gonna go ahead and drop email in the chat, so that way that you could just directly email it to me, okay?
How to Train Your Dragon is getting a live action movie. Yes, I did hear about that. There's a new Star Wars. It's either a movie or a series coming out on Disney. Skeleton Crew.
I think that's a new
coming
series.
Out December 3rd, I believe.
I think that's a new series. But I don't know.
December 3rd. It's a kids movie. It's really a kids movie. It has a bunch of kids in it, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be a kids movie geared toward children,
right?
But I'll watch it because it's Star Wars. I don't care if it's woke. I mean,
it's got woke.
Couldn't be as bad as what was that other one I watched? It was on Disney. I think I watched 2 episodes. It was Willow, the series. I watched 2 episodes of it, and I couldn't watch anymore. It was like putting Tabasco in my eyes. I was like, okay, I can't watch this anymore. It's just can't do it. So,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It started out good, and I was like, it's gonna get good. It's gonna get good. And all of a sudden, I was like, what is going on here? It was like it was kind of like. It's kind of like the ending of Game of Thrones when you warned me about the ending of Game of Thrones, and I was like, well, I haven't watched it yet, and I'm looking at the ending, I'm like, what? What? And you're like going, yeah, he was right. He was right. It just went down the Twitter. Yeah,
it just went down. I don't know. And I'm trying to. All right, I was trying to put in the chat the Rules of Nerdquisition email, so you could just email the link to me, James. But hang on, I'll just tell you, it is rulesofnerdquisition@gmail.com. RULESOFNERDQUISITION. I know that's a mouthful. That's what she said. Bam. Anyways.
We're not banned on TikTok. That's amazing.
Oh, we're not on TikTok. That's why we're not banned on TikTok.
Okay, that's why we're not banned. Yeah. That's always a plus. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Chuckle said
it's a
Skeleton Crew is a parallel to the Star Trek series, similar where kids, find and fly off in a lost Federation starship with a hologram of Janeway.
Oh, okay.
Except Jude Law is a Jedi that they fly off. Because of course they have to fly off with an adult. It just can't be all kids.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and of course that adult has to be a Jedi. So
of course, because
there has to be
a Jedi, because except no substitution, because it's Star Wars. If it can't be a clone trooper or a stormtrooper,
yeah,
it's got to be a Jedi.
Has to be somebody who can actually shoot straight. So, yeah.
A while back, I came across this YouTube that was talking about that, and was saying that how the difference is between their aim, about stormtroopers' aims in the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy versus the sequel. And somebody had said that during the original trilogy, they were never aiming to actually hurt them. They were aiming to kind of herd them to where Vader wanted them to be.
Okay.
Because the way that they said is that Vader would use battle meditation to play at all different scenarios, and essentially the best one was to kind of herd them into wherever, but considering how he didn't count on, Luke being able to fire a missile into a 2-meter hole, I don't think he counted on that one.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
But otherwise, if it wasn't for that, they would have won.
There is a good video. Dallas, I think it's Dallas Fort Worth Police Department. I forget what police department did it, but they actually had a stormtrooper on a range with a police officer, and he's firing at a target, and he keeps missing the target, and he keeps getting closer and closer to the target. So basically, the stormtrooper gets right up on the target, and he fires,
and he still misses.
No, I think. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. He misses the target. And the officer goes. The officer says something to him, and the stormtrooper basically discharges his weapon, his weapon is down at his side, and it discharges like the blaster, and the instructor jumps back, and he goes, "Who recommended you to us?" And then you see Darth Vader at the end going. It was a terrific commercial. I was like, and it was just for recruitment for officers.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Shooting from 30 yards away. Get closer. Get closer. Keep getting. It's hilarious.
Oh, that is funny. Hilarious. Oh my God.
It's on YouTube. It was great. I gotta find it.
Looks like we are coming close to the end of the show.
Yeah,
because I know you got double duty, because you gotta
Yep.
Jeff.
TKE tonight.
TKE tonight, coming up with Jeff. Then after Jeff, we got Hurricane Girls. Then after Hurricane Girls, we have got Conversations with T. Nathan. So we've got a full schedule on gcpr.live. Be sure to... Yeah, Hurricane Girls are from 9 to 11.
Oh, 9 to 11. Hurricane Girls, okay. And then I thought... what was the other show? Ben and Brett. Cold Dead Hands.
They're Mondays.
Monday.
Yep.
Okay.
They're on Monday, 9 to 11. Yep.
Monday. Okay. I'm getting my days. I'm getting my days confused. I'm sorry. And I am the program manager. Isn't that funny? Yeah. Good thing I'm not getting paid. So. You don't even know when your own damn shows are on.
I know, right?
Oh, what's
It's
going
like,
on?
geez, man.
Hey, get a calendar, will you?
Like, oh my God, man. It's not like, you already doesn't have a calendar already, but jeez. But yeah, we got a full show every day coming up later. You learn something, have a couple laughs, and so, yeah. Stay tuned for TKE, and you'll see George's pretty face. And so that is it.
I'm going to black out my video now.
And so,
I don't want to crack the camera.
Yeah, well, I mean, it always cracks for me. So I mean, it wouldn't. It is what it is, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and end the show. And so everybody, we'll see you all next week. And
when we talk not about computers but other stuff, we're gonna just talk about other stuff until that model show comes on, and then we could talk about computers.
Then we'll talk about computers and be an old man yelling at the cloud. All right, everybody.
Boat bird.
With the Boat bird. All right, everybody. Take care. TKE coming up.